What's up guys, Matt back again with another unboxing video, and this is the Ichiban Kuji for One Piece, the best edition. And in today's video, we'll be unboxing and reviewing the entire set. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. Up first is the captain of the Straw Hat crew and the man who will become the king of the pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. This figure has to be my favorite in this set. This entire set really does feel like a redo of an earlier Kuji set of Master Lee's figures called the Greatest Edition, and I mean that in the best way possible. Luffy's face is perfectly sculpted and detailed. His scar, eyes, and smile were perfectly done. He looks like he's been ripped straight from the anime. The colors on this figure also pop really well among most Luffy figures in my collection. He's got very bright colors and deep blacks wherever applied, and has amazing use of shading on his skin, pants, and belt. I also think the muscles sculpted onto this figure look fantastic and make Luffy look a lot more badass. There's a lot of great detail on his straw hat, and I think they did a superb job on his hair too. I think this has to be my favorite One Piece figure in my collection, and it'll be hard to beat with future releases. Next up is the world's most powerful swordsman, Roronoa Zoro. He's definitely a close second place pick for best in the set for me. Zoro's menacing face has been crafted with utter perfection. You may not be able to see it from my camera shot, but there are details around his eyes with wrinkles on the bridge of his nose and Denny Morgan lines depicted. The textures applied on his coat and bandana give it a much more realistic look to the figure, and that works really well for someone like Zoro. Something that's hard to ignore is how freaking ripped they made Zoro look. All of his muscles and veins across his torso and arms are freaking amazing. And of course, there is a healthy application of shading all over the figure. The only thing I can nitpick is he's prone to falling forward sometimes, and one of his swords slides out of his lower hand pretty often, but it doesn't ever completely fall out. Otherwise, this has to be my favorite Zoro figure in my collection and one of the greatest One Piece figures of all time. It's time to talk about everyone's favorite simp, and one of the reasons I get hungry while watching One Piece, Sanji. It's wild to me that Sanji doesn't get a ton of figures made within these Masterly sets. I usually see Luffy and his brothers more often than anyone else. Regardless, I'm happy Sanji was not only included in this set, but done so well. The art direction of this set needs to be studied by future Masterly sculptors. I love the bolding of the line work on his face, Sanji's funny little eyebrows just shining on his face in the light, and his little mustache looks so good. They even added some good detail to the cigarette in his mouth. Sanji only has noticeable shading on his hair and maybe his skin, but it's a lot more subtle. There isn't noticeable shading elsewhere, but that's mostly because he's wearing his iconic black suit. They did add some glossy metallic paint to his buttons, and it helps in making the figure look higher in quality. This Sanji falls into another category that's trending in this set as one of my favorite One Piece figures and easily my favorite Sanji figure in my collection. We're almost through the entire set, but we need to make a quick stop and talk about the Captain of the Heart Pirates and Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar Law. Law must be really popular in Japan with the amount of figures he receives. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I do enjoy the character. With all of that being said, they did give him a lot of care on his figure. There are plenty of details wrapped around this figure, like his tattoos, not only on his chest, but even detailed on his knuckles. I also love the relatively big size of his sword that he carries around on his shoulder. Like Luffy, Law has some awesome detail for his muscles that just makes the figure look a lot more badass. You can also find some additional details in the texturing of his hat and the zippers on his jacket. I also appreciate the shading added to this figure, even though he has darker colors compared to some of the others in the set. They added a lot of shading to his skin, pants, and even on his brown jacket. There are some other details like the glossy gold paints added to a few parts of the figure like his sword and earrings. He's not my favorite in the set, but it's hard to argue the absolute quality of the figure. To no one's surprise, he's my favorite Law figure so far. Finally, we have Luffy's super cool and yet super hot brother, Ace. Before I get any further into my discussion on Ace, I do want to point out a couple of things. This set obviously does not include a last one prize. It's not that big of a deal, but it is something that doesn't happen very often, so I wanted to make note of that. The second point is that I know I've recently made a full review for Ace on his own before I decided to change the format on my channel. So if you decide to skip this chapter of the review, that's fine, as I'll likely repeat some of the same points from that video. I do really love this Ace figure. He was the first of the set I picked up before I decided to go ahead and complete the set. I feel like that speaks to how great of an impression he left on me. It's hard to see some of the details of the figure as his head is tilted down and hidden by his hat, but his face does look awesome. His muscular build is great and encapsulates how good he looks in the anime on top of the cool details of his accessories all along his body. The figure makes great use of paint and shading with his tattoos, colors, and shading on his skin. The shading on his pants are freaking awesome too. He's certainly my favorite Ace figure I've gotten so far and tops this set off very nicely for me. hope you guys enjoyed this review. I really love this One Piece set. This is easily my favorite One Piece Ichiban Kuji. Most, if not all, of the figures in this set are my favorites in my One Piece collection, and probably better than any other counterparts of the characters themselves. If you're now getting into One Piece or Master Release collecting and you wanted to get some One Piece figures, I would say start off with this set. I know a lot of these figures are a little more on the pricey side, but I think it's definitely worth it. They're very cool, have a lot of details, and really do feel like One Piece come to life. It's an absolute S tier set for me, so if you guys did enjoy this review, leave a like, comment your thoughts on this set and each figure down below. Let me know which one you decide to pick up, and of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.